Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Okay, my guest this morning is Mr. Femi Saheed. Mr. Saheed is, well, apart from being the Assistant Secretary of APC in Lagos, he's an economist. Thank you very much for coming on the program. I will be joined later on by, another commentator, Alistair Wilcox. But in the meantime, I guess two big things trending. On the one hand, the meeting between Niger Delta elders and the president. The other one, of course, is the $30 billion loan that didn't go down well with the National Assembly yesterday, and so they've, they've refused to consider it. The expressions such as "it's been thrown out" have been used. Yeah, indeed, they didn't make progress on it, and explanations afterwards were saying that, well, maybe there was some incomplete aspect of the whole submission. For instance, the attached draft was actually missing, and they couldn't, they didn't have the power, the authority for anticipatory approvals. That's it. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So really, it's a technical issue.
It's something that you see. There is. We always talk about the independence of the executive and that of the legislature. What they have really shown is that there is independence in what we are talking about. The president has right to ask for so, and they have the power to sit down and vet it, look at it. But what they are saying is not an outright rejection. It is just that the details are not attached, to the request. So, and according to what the senior special advisor to the president on legislative matters, Ita Henag, said yesterday, he said they are assiduously working in making sure that the details are well articulated together and, will be sent back to the appropriate quarters. Indeed. For these people to really understand the nitty-gritty, the need for why this 30 billion naira and in which areas are these infrastructural gap deficit that this money will be used upon.
Okay, because that's one of the main purposes of this loan, this proposed loan. It's all about sort of plugging infrastructure deficits.
You see, especially at a time whereby Nigeria is in recession. When you are in recession, government is the biggest spender of any economy. During the recession, many people will be unemployed. Company will fold up. Consumption pattern will change. But in a situation like that, if government has really identified critical projects that are debilitating the progress and development of Nigerians, that's like the power sector, for example, like the aviation sectors, like most of our roads, the rail systems, you talk of health facility, you talk about the educational institutions. If they have really identified and they really want to diversify, we're talking about agriculture diversification. If you don't have the infrastructure, there's no way the government can.
So there's a way in which these two...
It's intertwined. We can shout, yes, it's intertwined. We can shout from today till tomorrow that the government is not performing. If the needed infrastructures are not on ground, there's no magic. And actually, the loan is very, very cheap. 1.5%. That is the cheapest loan any country in the world can get. Other loans like the Paris loan, Paris Club loan that we've been, that we've been borrowing, they go for almost 28% per annum. But look at this.
And this is going to take what's the tenure of
It's going to take like 20 to 30 years duration.
Now this is why they probably, I don't know, as you said, the extant reasons are that it wasn't it was an incomplete submission, so that can be sorted out.
So that I agree with the National Assembly.
Indeed, that can be sorted out.
Yeah, that needs to be sorted out amicably, because as this morning, the Debt Management Office (DMO) is assiduously working, putting all the details together.
One would have wondered why it went to the National Assembly in that incomplete way, but it did. I suppose there's no use crying over.
Well, I think it's even good that way.
But
it shows Nigeria that we are all concerned, that we are all stakeholders in the project called Nigeria. And the president launched Change Begins With Me. So they are playing their home part. So the department, the agencies, the MDAs, the people responsible for budget presentation, most of them should now sit and harmonize their position. Now that the National Assembly is taking a vantage position, to champion, you can see that it was a unanimous vote. And you cannot say that they are not representing the interest of Nigeria. They are. Well, they too are affected by most of this infrastructural deficit we have all over the country.
Yeah,
but the fact is that the needful must be done, which means the details must be, the request must attached with the details, which will be vetted.
Fine. And as you said, there's very little more to be said about the matter. But the whole posture, the whole body language, and the fact that this was dismissed out of turn. If you look at the reports, and maybe if you saw it live, it looked as if even the Senate president was surprised at the voice vote of no.
You see,
nay.
if you present
so much so that recall that he did it again.
Yeah.
He said, "Hang on," and called for a voice vote again.
Yeah.
Another resounding no. Yeah. So, without prejudice to what you said, there are those that are watching the body language that, wait a minute, that's how these people threw out out of turn the ambassadorial list that was sent. Now this.
You see, the fact is that you can see that the APC has majority in the House, and it was a unanimous vote. That is the way Nigeria should operate. It is based on national issue. And this is something that concerns my destiny and your destiny, and Nigeria is in contest. So the needful must be done. And immediately, the SSA to the president has replied that they found out that so will be added to it. And when that one is done, they now present it back to the House. Are you getting it?
But yeah, excellent. But he still did say that he was shocked at the way things had gone, and that if he had known that that was the way it was going to go, that is Alia Ndima said, either he would have sold it a bit more than he had done and taken for granted, or worst case scenario, he wouldn't have presented it at all. But as you said, it's coming back. Maybe bigger and better.
There's no need for us to be in the East. It is something that is going to span for the next 3 years. The money is going to be for 3 years. So if the president can do if the office of the president can do the needful, within 1 month, all these things are put together, sent back, itemized, breakdown,
no problem,
and they get the express approval.
Indeed.
I think it gets Nigeria more informed.
I suppose the other aspect also that no doubt they would have been considering, even if they did throw it out of turn, would have been this matter of how to administer loans like this. How to monitor them. There are quite a number because there's both internal and external borrowing,
You see, as an economist, that is where I have issues. Borrowing is not a sin, especially when you are in a recession. You must borrow to do some certain things. And when you borrow and money comes in, there's something they call monetary policy. There's something they call monetary policy. When you do that, there's expansion. The recession itself is a contraction in the economy, but you try to expand it by pumping in more money. By the time this loan is given approval, the money is ready. Contractors will be paid. People will move to sites. Pure water people will be selling. Oil people will be selling. People will employ.
Let me come back and listen to this a bit more. I've got to go to this almighty commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Okay, thank you very much for staying with us. We've been joined by Alester Wilcox, Chartered Accountant and Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for coming on as well.
Thank you very
much. And I see that you come on loaded. I'm happy about that, but that's another story. I had to interrupt you to go to the commercial, Femi. So would you like to conclude the thought? Because
so if you have somebody giving you a loan at 1.5% and you have a myriad of problems facing you in your economy, and there's dwindling oil prices all over the world. Believing you and me, Nigeria is still a monoproduct economy. So the only thing is that
relatively cheap
and you want to diversify.
Well,
which is the key point.
yes.
And you need critical infrastructures for you to do some of these things.
So which one? I don't know. Okay, Alistair, welcome. The main reason the president's loan request was thrown out was that it was incomplete. You know, the see attached draft. We hear that there was no such draft attached. So technically speaking, understandable. But going to the substance of why this loan is necessary altogether, they talk about, you know, needing to fill in you know, infrastructural gaps that are indispensable when it comes to diversification.
Exactly.
Excellent idea. Why the seeming cavalier attitude with which it was thrown out?
Yeah, Jerry, thank you very much. And to some of us looking from outside, we're also wondering why it was, because one would have expected that an issue of this nature should have been committed to the committee stage of the Senate, the committee level of the Senate, for them to critically examine.
But there was a resounding
not
no
in the,
vote.
Not in the
Voice vote.
not in the House and the committee of the whole House. That's at the preliminary. The letter was read. Yes, that was last time when before they went on their break last week, and then it's brought again. So I don't understand that. I'm not in National Assembly. I've not been anywhere close there, so I don't understand the legislative processes that could have given rise to that. One would have expected, I think, of this magnitude should have been committed to the committee on appropriation, committee on finance, committee on whatever, DMO and all whatnot, to look at scrutinize, and if there's papers to be sought for, they will seek for those papers. The important thing is that this kind of intervention is needed at this point, and the Senate or National Assembly cannot stand aloof. Yeah, I'm not questioning what they are, what they have done.
That's their job.
I mean, that is their job.
And
I mean,
it was incomplete.
The manner of doing it is what most Nigerians might not be very, very comfortable with. It then seems to be that there is this still seemingly cozy relationship between the National Assembly, detaching themselves from the presidency. And of course, you cannot do that because you are all serving Nigerians. And this loan is meant for the betterment of Nigeria. Why don't you, why are you throwing away the baby with the bathwater? Why not bring out the baby and then can throw the bathwater away? Because right now, there is the sense of urgency in certain intervention in the country. And we've mentioned it. Number one, we lack forex. And that is why our Naira is taking a bashing every day. If you get
we hear this, but Alistair, maybe from the presidency, Ndume alluded to as much, maybe if they had known it could go this way, they might have done a better job of selling it to his colleagues, explaining, because there is sometimes the executive needs to lobby.
Exactly, Jerry. I think I was alluding to that.
If you just swagger in any old how, this kind of a thing could happen.
The handlers of the president need to be on their A game. Now, we are in a serious situation that needs a lot of politicking and political acumen backed up with interpersonal relationship in getting things done. Suffice it to say, needless to say, I mean, let's not say it's now sound like a crack record. People have not still forgiven the president for emerging as the president of this country. People are still having the hangover. I mean, I'm talking about the president.
You mean the president
himself? The hangover of the election of 2015 is yet to go off in the minds of people. So a lot of Nigerians, that Nigerians that are feeling the brunt of the economy today, are wishing the president to fail. So and then if you go to the House now, yes, APC might be majority, but then again, the seemingly uncool relationship between the executive and through the emergence of Senator Bukola Saraki as the Senate president is still has not died down, and so therefore there is still that pull him down syndrome. Now nobody is looking at Nigeria as a concept. And of course, the handlers of the president need to do a better job.
Yes,
when
I think that point needs to be underlined.
When you are going for a battle and you know your enemies, you don't give them rooms to maneuver.
If we must use those terms.
No,
but
certainly.
If you know the terrain.
Well, okay, let's see if you know the terrain. Because
if you know the terrain, why wouldn't you?
You need to tighten up your loose ends.
Yeah.
This is the
you
change
got to cross
government.
the T's and dot the I's before you go.
Unfortunately, a lot of people are misunderstanding what we call change. Everybody think that change is when Naira start dropping from heaven and food is prepared and drop on the streets of the country and just go and pick your own ration. I don't think that's the cause of people. Now change means doing things a different way that it was being done before. Now if before the president just throw into the National Assembly, bulldoze your way through like a person used to always do, or you buy your way through like Ghana Must Go used to always pass around. We know all that. I mean they are not secret, they are open secret. Now, but Ghana Must Go. Now it's a different terrain. No more Ghana Must Go. No more bulldozing. The president doesn't bulldoze anybody. He wants to do your job. So therefore, now you now have to be more diplomatic. And that is why Ndume, and that's why I link it to what Ndume is saying. This letter, before it comes, the caucus, the APC caucus, or the arrowheads of the APC caucus will have been called to the presidency and briefed. Look, this is what we want to do. This is our intention.
So enough groundwork wasn't done.
Enough groundwork wasn't done. And I think
consequence.
I blame the handlers, especially Etaina, who is his liaison officer in the Senate. I don't think, with due respect, I don't think he's doing a good job, sir, because the relationship between the Senate and the presidency has not in any way moved from where we used to be.
It does look, as we say locally, one kind.
It looks one kind,
in the sense that,
and it's not
because
enough.
I'm reminded of, this is how they dismissed the president's list of ambassadors. If not for Saraki, the Senate president, who had stepped in, even by sort of overruling via his gavel, that look. Let this be referred to the committee and check it out.
And that's why, and that is the issue, because it's not a bill. Communications, after read at the preliminary, at their committee of holders at the preliminary stage, is always committed to their committee stage. That's what I know. It has always happened. Now, rereading a letter twice or 3 times on the floor of the whole, I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, they have their processes.
They
have their own house rules.
Because I mean, I have followed most of these issues from outside. Really, I've followed this. So I expect that this should be committed to the committee, and the committee will now come back with a report.
But wait a minute. What do you think? Do you think Saraki actually has charge? Because I asked that funny question against the backdrop of, even he was reported to have been surprised, taken aback at the voice vote, and so much so that he had put the question again, hoping that maybe they would catch a nuance, and they did a louder nay vote. It's all about relations between the legislature.
Number one, it is all about lobbying.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a lot of sensitization, even to Nigerians, as reasons why most of these.
So they might have been taken a bit for granted.
That is it. And they have the right. We have APC members there. Saraki is an APC member. Ndume himself. And most of these principal officers are from APC now. So, but go back and do your neat job.
Okay.
And
that's the whole point of being, so don't come and be telling us you are surprised. You should have prepared for all the eventualities.
No, they should have. And we did not. Because sincerely, let's look at it.
It was not thrown out on technical issue. It was based on the details are not attached.
Yeah, this loan is a 3-year,
and 10 trillion naira is not a small money.
Yeah, this is a 3-year borrowing plan. And of course, their broad-based category is mainly on infrastructural development. Yes. And sincerely speaking, if I were the Senate, I would just say, Mr. President, if you attach details, bring this details.
Yeah. That would have been a friendly rejection.
Yes.
Mr. President, it would have been
a letter written back to the President.
Exactly.
And say, Mr. President, we need better details, and that's why I said the committee stage.
So this is really pointing, the substance of what we're talking about is here at the loan, but it's really pointing to body language, and body language seems to be giving us an insight into the mindset of that particular institution. Clearly, there would appear to be issues that need to be addressed. We have the CCT thing. That one is still there, as you well know. No, so there's
the truth of the matter, they can't grant the presidency. That is obvious. They can't grant the presidency because they are also part of the government. And you see, that's the unfortunate thing that, for which I think even the government is not doing enough sensitization of the people, carrying the people along in a more sensitized manner and form. You can't grant the country. Everybody knows that we need to run this country. There are urgent needs. Like my brother said, when we are claimed to be in recession, and in recession, what happened? The government is a big spender. Government will spend its way out of recession. And where are those being spent? You spend in critical infrastructure. Today, Yori, I tell you, try to travel from Lagos to Abuja by road. You understand that there is the urgency for funds to flow in. Look at our naira being parted every day. If we have additional $5 billion today in our foreign reserve as loan that comes to the country, and it's been targeted for those basic infrastructure, not the type that came in, not the $1 billion that they took for Boko Haram that they didn't know what they did with it. But now we have the better management of our public finances. And if we have 5 billion into the treasury, into the standard reserve today, you know how, I mean, what impact that will do on our naira? It will dampen it. And if we keep having that 5 billion per year, additional to what we are receiving, I tell you, in no time, our naira will gain strength.
Yeah. So, well, things that are going to be, questions that are naturally going to be asked is the administration of these loans, because it's a pretty penny. $30 billion is no small change.
No,
and we have all sorts of loans, because I made the point earlier that there are both internal loans and external loans. Now we're trying to access the external part of the plan. I suppose these loans, one of the worries might be that when you give people loans, you want to be sure that they do what they do something reasonable with it. In fact, I think IMF ties loans down to specific projects.
Even this loan was tied to specific. It's
because that's going to be very, very important.
And if you look back, with respect back to the China trip again, it was basically infrastructure's loan, and which Nigeria itself has paid a counterpart fund for.
Let me come back on that whole counterpart funding thing. We've got to go to another quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, and we're just looking at the loan, that was sought by the executive, the Senate especially, maybe not national, but the Senate has not seen its way. In fact, it's throwing it out, but we're saying, be that as it may, it will be represented. We are talking about the importance of these loans.
So you can see that I've really seen now, I can now see that the administration of Muhammadu Buhari is geared toward improving the infrastructural deficit that we have in Nigeria. Because if you consider this loan that is tied solely to critical infrastructural challenges, and the other one from China, which is counterpart, has just been paid. So it's all infrastructure. That is to tell you that the government found that there is deficit in our infrastructural facility across board. And the only way to go about that is for you to soft cheap funds. And especially when Nigeria is in recession like this, if you want to invest in critical infrastructure, it means government is going to spend more. And when government is ready to spend more, it will be better for us to come out of recession quicker. Yes. Employment will be generated.
Well, I was going to say, Alistair, what do you think? That's the theory.
No,
that's the way it's supposed to work.
That's the way it's supposed to work.
But when it comes into the real world,
yes,
oftentimes it doesn't go as planned.
It's because in time past, we've had governors that are not totally honest and sincere in the management of public finances. Loans are being given, or even some of the money recovered on the so-called Abacha loot, that even the Swiss government tied to critical infrastructures to be, which Nigeria submitted and signed off. When the money came, it went into recurrent expenditure and they disappeared within the system.
And that's a problem.
That was a problem.
The problem we are facing now is that 39% of our budget is recurrent expenditure. Exactly. How do you survive as a nation?
Exactly. So we have that issue. So right now, with the new mantra of change and probity in an accountability management of public finance and public funds, I think there is a new way of doing things. And that is why when these loans are tied to those specific projects, the operators, and you see, and I must say this.
You took another branch of thought. Let me quickly go over to Mazi Okoroafo in Abia State. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our guest in the studio.
All right.
Yes. Sir, you see, when I saw this billions, I started, you see, in Nigeria, we have at least one or two or three people that can afford the money. What does it take the federal government from asking fellow Nigerians to
30 billion? 30 billion?
Yes. Now let me look, Mr. Yori, when you sit down and assess a governor or maybe past, assess how much what they have, how much the federal government has pumped into a state for 4 good years. And if you sit down and calculate and minus what the governor must have used, now what happens to the difference? This is mathematics, this is economics. Sit down. You see, what we happen in Nigeria, we don't want to sit down and think positively. We only sit down and carry propaganda and start carrying all these stories. Look, this country is very, very rich. We have people that will solve Nigeria's problem. Why are we going outside to look for money? Look, and God has already blessed us. Keep aside oil. What happened? Before you, what happened? When Nigeria was not moving forward, my father, my mother, my grandfather, those days, what were they? How much did they have in their account? My brother, God has blessed us. May God bless us. I thank all the Catholics to celebrate, commemorate All Souls Day. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you, Mazi. Well, that's
Mazi deserves
his own perspective.
No, Mazi deserves a round of applause.
But
Sincerely, he's speaking some very, very fundamental truths that are pertinent. Like relating back to how Nigeria used to be, but see, Nigeria has gone past what he was talking about. Now, many Nigerians, they say many Nigerians can give us this loan. Most people, I tell you, the way people's wealth are in this country is they are tied to assets, they are tied to stock, they are tied to investment. Most of them are not in real cash.
It's not in
They are not in real cash. Even those that stole money, most of this money, majority of them are tied up in one gigantic project and this. Most of them have own hotels, and so they cannot just turn that to cash overnight and give out as loan to people.
But people are also talking about, so how about those ill-gotten gains that you say you have recovered?
No.
That must count for something.
Please, let's address that.
Let's address it. But
there are two waitings. Two waitings.
There's someone waiting on the line, so I want us to take in Mr. George's, observation, and then we'll come back to studio. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, I do not belong to those who are defending the action of the Senate, that it is because it was not properly presented. This was a Senate that a few days ago virtually hijacked the judiciary in order to make the executive impotent so that they can be the giver and the taker of all the powers in Nigeria. Was it not just last week they hijacked the CCTV and CCB law for selfish purposes? What was wrong, Uncle Yori, is the Senate had stood down that bill and asked the executive to come and explain further. Wouldn't that have been a better way to show patriotism
and cooperation?
And cooperation. Most of the senators that went against that bill, 30% of that money is going to be spent in their area, in the Niger Delta and the southeast area. Do you think the president would have just brought something, $30 billion loan, without a plan as to where and how it will be spent? I don't imagine that. I quite agree, Uncle Yori, that the media men of the president are not doing well.
Okay.
If I have my way, I will ask him to change all of them. But be that as it may, it is not the way the Senate is doing. We know the body language. The truth of the matter is this. In the past, loans are for sharing.
Yeah.
This one, nobody is going to share or give them any percentage of it. As at 3 weeks ago, Uncle, it was already in the public media that the Senate was going to reject that motion as soon as it comes to the Senate. It was already there. So what are we talking about? The body language speaks better than voice.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. George. What he has done is that he has really expatiated on the hostility that I was talking about in terms of the relations between...
We've said it.
Yes.
We've said it that you need to prepare more.
Yes.
Now that the president is on anti-corruption drive and is gaining ground, and you are now presenting something the first time, people are rejecting it, the people that are preparing this thing for the presidency need to sit tight and do a very neat job. Defend it.
Yes.
You know, most of us have defended our project while we are in school. You've defended even your budget in the offices, you defend it.
I hear
so
what you're saying.
when these things are done, and it is now being thrown out on technicality, but this one is not even on technicality. It means the people who prepare some of these things for the president need to go back and sit down and do thorough job.
Now,
so that now,
Femi,
because the change begins with me, do your job the way you want people to say.
I don't think anybody is going to contradict what you're saying, but the attitude, the posturing, the body language. You see, we need.
You see why I'm happy. You see why I'm happy. You see why I'm happy. It was a unanimous vote.
It doesn't matter to some that look. You know how we say "Pele lobi olako."
Say that in vernacular.
There can be a harsh rejection,
Yes.
and there can be a conciliatory rejection. Mr. George made the point that look, we're standing this down now because we need a bit more information. In order
That's
to
the reconciliatory rejection.
And
I said that.
The principle is still there. You're not getting past us. But it does show the disposition
back to the president
that we want to be as...
and said, we will thank you for your letter. We need further information on this and these areas for us to consider your request
That would
further.
have given people the impression that
would have been
everything is fine.
And that's what I said, Mr. Yori, that's what I said, people are still antagonistic against the government.
And that's the point
And
Mr. George was bringing out.
Yes, and unfortunately,
And my APC scribe here is saying, no, leave them alone. They are well within their rights,
it is
without prejudice. But how about this whole matter of perception, the way you are seen? You can still go ahead and reject it.
Maybe that is the way people are saying it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as a party man, and whose party is the ruling party,
I hear
and
you.
whose
You're
party
saying-
dominates the National Assembly.
Yeah.
People,
They were
we
well
must
within
leave
their rights.
a
But sometimes-
legacy.
but sometimes we are
Samali,
told- but
thank
sometimes
you
we are
for
told that we have
holding
an
on.
AP.
Mr. Samali, go.
No,
Thank you.
but they are still carry member of the party.
Let me hear you.
Okay.
You're not listening to me. Mr. Samali, you have the floor,
Good
sir.
morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Samali.
Yeah, your panel of discussers, I also greet them. First, I think it was at the sitting, the whole senators who were there were the one who rejected the idea of the what comes from the presidency, not neither APC or PDP senators. That is one. Yori, I want to know the past debt that have been piled up by successive government in this country. How much have been paid? Because it was only Obasanjo regime who came out and told Nigeria that he has paid all that he inherited, or those that he incurred. Successive government. At the end of the day, like the Buhari asking for this now, incoming government, the same will be passed over to him. Which are being left for my grandchildren and yours to pay, not the present generation. The question is, how much have been paid and how much is left? We are still asking for. Have a nice day.
All right.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something very quickly. Every country of the world owes debt. In fact, the biggest economy in America has a $21 trillion debt hanging on their necks. And by the time Hillary and either Hillary or Trump will finish their 4 years presidency, that debt will go up to $25 trillion dollars. So
Recently, Saudi Arabia was granted $14 billion.
yes. So every country owes, and you need debt to survive. Nigeria will run in perpetuity. There is no day they will say, okay, Nigeria bring all their debt, and that was one of the downside of the Obasanjo episode of doling out $12-point-something billion in one fell sweep to bring us out of debt. That was the Paris Club agenda as to why somebody has to come in as the Minister of Finance in Nigeria then. We know all that went through, so a lot of people become millionaires, overnight through that deal and transactions.
Well,
but at the same time, we'll come out of
different
debt.
subject.
But because
President Obasanjo did say he created 25 billionaires.
I don't know
that's
them.
a subject for another day.
I don't know them. I was not one of them.
He didn't mention them.
I didn't know them.
The mode of operandi
were not
But the fact, even before Obasanjo left office in 2007, Nigeria has accumulated some debt because you must have those debts. Because there has never been a time your inflow and outflow will match. It has never been. It can never happen. Your inflow and outflow will never match. If it might, then you are not developing.
Yeah.
You need debt to develop. You don't need debt for and thank God today the government of today is not borrowing to pay salaries. TSA and some other fiscal discipline
have
that
taken charge
of those
of
areas. Now the government pays their salary as and when due, pays their running costs as and when due, and all that. Where the government is having challenge today is in funding their capital part of the project of the budget, and that is why these facilities are required. Nigeria today, we're not making money from oil any longer. The price has crashed. Militants have helped us to crash the quantity you are pumping to the market, and there's glut. There's even no buyers are now becoming shrewd because they are developing alternative sources of energy. Today we had that, George recently we had that.
I'm sorry, yet again, I got to take a break. I'm very, very sorry. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're on the home stretch now, and Yakub from Dokwemu has actually come on the line since then. Good morning, Yakub.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for coming.
And then God Almighty will continue to bless you.
Thank you very much.
Whether you are monolithic or monopolistic, you really want to know that.
You remember that? Okay.
Yes, all what I know is that this is the only station that gives us opportunity to express our feelings in terms of Nigerian project.
Go ahead.
So I will say that, Chibiori, you see, I don't believe APC has the Senate and House of Representatives. I don't believe that. Do you know that in the last dispensation, this kind of a bill, it will just get through immediately. But especially where a Senate president does not work together with the presidency. Chiefly, I don't know maybe you have traveled from Lagos to Abeokuta. If you travel for that road from Toget to Ifo, Chiefly, you will not like to go there again.
Yeah, but what could the Senate president do? What could he do? What could he do? It was a voice vote.
Let me throw this to you. We will continue to find ourselves in this kind of station, a station where you are in a station where the Senate president will say anybody against this law should say hi, should say no. Why can't they go to by camera photo? Let everybody phone. Let's see who say hi, who say no. The Senate president always choose where to go. That is the way I see it. I don't believe in that. This kind of a bill should stay to because the Nigerian citizens are suffering. This is a president that wants to spend this money. You want to spend this money. Nigeria will see the money that goes to capital project. Not that they want to share the money as if they will go to South Africa telling us they want to go and buy weapons. At the end of the day, nobody knows where the money goes to. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Femi, okay, you have been very clear and consistent that they were well within the right, but people are complaining that it's an attitudinal thing that they are seeing, and that is the only thing that is a bit worrying. They threw out...
You see, maybe it's because of my training.
Well,
I'm a financial analyst.
Yeah.
There's no way you will table a request before your boss that the request will not come out with details.
So,
and the breakdown of the details.
Okay, so what you are...
It's an appendix
so what you are saying...
Request.
No, so therefore what you are saying is that it was a slack job.
Was admitted and the DMO is working, that they are trying to send it back.
Okay.
I think...
Now, the matter of let's not go through procedure anymore because that's the done deal. So I think the only thing that can serve us a bit is that some of those things that they need to come back and be told, which is what you are doing.
Exactly.
You sell it to them better. There might be some mischief, political mischief.
No, there is
political.
No,
it is the
no
political
doubt
mischief
about
part
that Nigerians
that Femi is de-emphasizing.
Yes. No, the Femi is emphasizing.
Say, look to the substance and the facts. But people are saying without prejudice to that, sir. What about the political mischief? Are we on the same side or not?
There is political mischief, no doubt about it. And I said it from my opening speech. The antagonism about this government against government is high.
That can't be denied.
If it is where they do cash for passage of letters or bills or anything, budget, cash for padding and all what, if where there's cash exchange, this won't happen. I mean, we've never seen it happen before.
Yes.
So when they just go behind, drop the Ghana must goes, and the ever comes and say, yeah, nay, or no. And so
these are not
times for it.
We've changed.
So
let me hear it from Abdul Malik,
and we're now going forward.
Abdul Malik, Mr. Abdul Malik is calling in from Niger State. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Go ahead, please.
I want to contribute
sure.
by chipping into what you guys are doing. This is a very good work. You should keep it up, Uncle Yori.
Very, very kind of you.
My observation with our assembly, what they have been doing, they have been trying to sabotage the efforts of the Mr. President. And this high time, the masses, I would suggest the masses should try to do something by ganging against them as well. But if you look at their number, they are just few at that place. So if the masses can do something, they are representing us as individuals from various employer districts. When they come back home, we should tell them that these are the things we need. This money that they want to borrow, they are borrowing it to develop the country. for infrastructure development. Maybe they are trying to go against it because it's not as usual that the way they used to share it. That everybody will just share, and that is why they are trying to bring a lot of ways to block it now.
Okay.
So I'm suggesting to the masses that we should rise up on our feet.
All right then. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Abdul Malik. But if you look at what Femi has been saying, that look, without prejudice to all of these, aspects that we're bringing up, there still is a proper way of doing a thing. Even as we are saying that, look, aren't we of the same party? Couldn't you be more conciliatory? But the point is, we are not therefore saying that they should have passed what was incomplete.
No.
Nigerians it's just that people think it matters. The way you reject matters.
Yes, the way you reject matters, and then the way you package your papers.
Yes.
Again, you are sending a paper to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Therefore, you must not take them for granted.
Yeah.
And you must not embarrass the president. In packaging your paper, you must package everything nitty-gritty, tidy it up. Because we all defend budget, like Femi said, we all defend budget before our little employers and them. Talking of this thing, and talking of mortgaging the future of Nigeria for the next 30 years or thereabouts.
Because a lot of people are concerned
about it. Yes,
we know what has happened to loans in the past.
Yeah, we know those who are
and this is a government of change.
Out of bad belly, will say, no, don't give them, they say they want change, they want to do magic. Yeah. There are people like that. So we don't give them that room. There are also people who genuinely understand the fact that Nigeria needs this law. Like some of us, we know this law. But let me tell you something. If you build a road today with part of this fund, I tell you, if you're traveling to Abuja, if before a war, from World War II, you get to this thing, it's a no-go area.
But we've got to take the political, the political animosity has to be taken out.
I got to
go to Hassan now in Lekki. Good morning, Mr. Hassan in Lekki.
You won't be like that one.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Mr. Wilcox.
Good morning.
And good morning, the other gentleman.
Yeah, okay.
Look, let us be very, very frank with ourselves. We, the APC, are not in majority in National Assembly. We are not in majority. Because if we are a majority, we are not supposed to be having this kind of problem we are experiencing now. The problem is this. Mr. George has said it all. Before we take loans and come and share, and it's not reflecting in anything infrastructural development and anything positive in this country. The money shared among some few individuals, retrogressive elements in this country. But this time around, we are having a leadership that is much more concerned about me and you. You understand? That is more concerned to impact positively. And whatsoever this government is going to do, everybody will see it. And it will impact and it will help everybody in this country. But we are having a problem. Let me tell you one thing here. Why I said we don't have majority in the House. Look, this kind of a thing is not supposed to be a public debate. There is supposed to be a synergy between the National Assembly and the presidency. When you discover something, it's not something you come and be watching your dirty lining in public. Yes, you understand? What you are seeing here is that Saraki and many people in National Assembly that are pretending to be in APC and many PDP are having covenant with APC and they are very out to forsake this government. And God will never help them. Yeah. God will help us, sir.
Indeed, thank you very much. And I think really that's the reading between the lines.
Exactly. He who goes to God goes with care. He who goes to come to equity goes with clean hands. You see, the president is working on the path of probity. He's working on the path of transparency. People that are working with the president should make sure that people are watching them. Whatever you want to prepare, you're supposed to scrutinize it. Because
we've made that point. But he is making the point that look at the dramatic way he put it. We in APC, quoting him, we are not in the majority in the National Assembly. There is animosity. Of course. You are de-emphasizing all of that, and that's excellent.
You're a good party man.
You're a good party man, so you're de-emphasizing all of that. But people are reading it.
But I see it to a large extent that way, because if you are in majority, like we said, the manner was very, very wrong. You are doing the right thing, but in a very wrong, sending a very wrong signal
who is
to
it
the
wrong
people.
To? Well, they won't say it's wrong. They'll say it's their prerogative.
I'm sure Ndume tried to do some reportage.
Ndume actually said that he was surprised. That if he had known,
you see, I'm not surprised.
You know,
once back in this country, there was a time that about 100 and something bills passed through.
Yes,
you see, this is administration of change from all quarters, across board.
Okay, let's just leave it at there. I think I like the note you hit. This is the administration of change.
I'm very pleased. And those who are working for the president should be on the same page with him.
With him.
On the same page with the president, because a lot of people they are discordant. So even among his circle, so they must be on the same page with him, so that whenever they take it now, they don't embrace the president any further than they've done.
Thank you very much, Alistair Wilcox, Chartered Accountant, Public Affairs Analyst, and also Mr. Femi Saheed, economist and assistant scribe of APC in Lagos. Thank you, gentlemen. That's our program today. I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.